नारायणः परो व्यक्तात् अण्डमव्ययसम्भवम् अण्डस्यान्तस्त्रिमे लोकाः सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So we saw how the person who has unbridled dveshas is on a downward spiral. Downward only in the sense that one is in touch with one's base nature. That's why downward. No other reason, no direction here, but downward in terms of undesirability. That's why. So there is the downward spiral from being present, being alive to situations, and having the mind free, which is a very, very big gift, to have the mind free. And instead, what is the person doing? The person is trapped in the bars of the cage. And what is this cage? The cage is known as raga and dvesha. That's what it is. Raga, dvesha, okay, that one has certain things one is fascinated by, one has certain things one is repulsed by. But to what extent does it command you? That is the idea. And so the person who gives unto these kinds of prejudices, preferences, strong ones, goes through a melt down, basically. And this melt down, not of the emotions, but of the person itself, is being talked about in verses 61, 62, etc. And we were in the middle of the Bhashya of verse 62. Let us just chant that for refreshing the mind. Krodhat bhavati, verse 63, sorry. Krodhat bhavati sammohaha, sammohat smriti vibhramaha, smriti bhramshat buddhinashaha, buddhinashat pranashyati. So again, the steps are talked about. And we saw how the anger makes one get into a place of self-sabotage. Anger gives rise to self-sabotage. Why? Because there is some way in which even some Shubha Chintaka, somebody who is a well-wisher, like for example the Guru, tries to say, oh, you're not doing this correctly, you're going on the wrong path. Come back. And then what does the person say to the Guru? You are fired. I don't like you. I'm not going to come to classes anymore. I don't like you, what you're saying at all. And who is this I that doesn't like the ahankara that is invested in the ragadveshas and is controlled by the ragadveshas? Instead of managing the ragadveshas, it has become enslaved. And so that one says, get away from my sight. And so Gurunapi akroshati. Akroshati means insults even the teacher, gets angry at the teacher, and takes the teacher to task. That is where we. So we finished also Shastra Acharya Upadesha Ahita Samskara Janitayaha Smritehe Syat Vibhramaha Bhramshaha Smriti Utpatti Nimitta Praptau Anutpattihi. So then Krodhat Bhavati Sammohaha he is taking. So from this anger, then what happens? Confusion arises. And smriti vibhramaha, that loss of recollection. Recollection of what? Not your own name, but recollection of the things you hold dear, the people that matter to you, things you hold dear, the people that matter to you, and the what's it called? The people that matter to you, and the values that matter to you. You pride yourself at being a fair person, a dharmic person. You pride yourself on valuing a simple life, and you find meaning in other things that, like Shastra, etc. And suddenly all that it has just flown away, so to speak. All that has, it's not, been really forgotten, but in the moment one cannot recall. One cannot recall, even though the Antahkarana has been purified by the instructions of scriptures, Acharya, etc. And then it's not that the memory is affected, but the memory fails to produce, to reproduce that learning, that teaching. In that moment, it's lost. So many years of tapas. And sitting in front of Zoom itself is a tapas. And so many years of tapas, online tapas, and so many camps attended in person and online, so many texts studied, so many texts that one has under the belt, even extreme texts like Mandukya and Dakshinamurti Stotram, which says the world is the world is a mere projection. Even that, all that is there, but where is it? Where, where is the Vedanta? Will the Vedanta please come out? It does not. Why? Because your Dakshinamurti Stotram is in the jail of the Ragadveshas. It is as though trapped in that moment. Afterwards, you say, oh, yes, 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 Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari, everything. And then how Dakshinamurti looks also comes back. And then that nice Shanta face and 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 the hand doing japa in the chin mudra with the mala, everything comes back. But much later. What do you use? In the moment the damage appears to have been done. And then, and then what happens? Sammohaha, smriti vibhramaha. This is what it is. And then what happens? As though this is not enough. Tataha bhashya smriti vibhramshat. What happens? Buddhehe nashaha. Buddhi gets destroyed. And what is this buddhi? Adi Shankara explains beautifully. Karya akarya vishaya viveka ayogyata. बुद्धेः नाशः इति उच्यते. So, karya, what is to be done? Akarya, what should not ever be done? Vishaya means things. Things, the subject matter here, Vishaya. So, the subject matter of what needs to be done, what should not be done. That viveka ayogyata. Ayogyata means the ability for that discrimination is gone. The loss of the discriminative ability is called viveka ayogyata. And that loss, antahkaranasya, in fact, when the buddhi is lost, Adi Shankara says the whole antahkarana is lost. That is what it is. The power of logic, bye bye. The power of reason, bye bye. And so, and then he makes a very interesting statement. So, तावदेव हि पुरुषः, तावदेव हि पुरुषः. Until that time, a person can be called a human being. Until which time, यावत् antahkaranam tadiyam karya vishaya vivekayogyam. So, the person is called as a human being, is fit to be called as a human being until such time that that person possesses the power to distinguish between right and wrong, distinguish between what needs to be done and what is not needing to be done. When that incapacity comes in the viveka, when the person is no longer able to do this, when the person is incapacitated from being able to distinguish between right and wrong, then it is called, the Purusha Nasha. Tad ayogyatve sati nashtaha eva purushaha bhavati. So when that ability is lost, then the Purusha itself is lost. See, basically, very beautiful. See, one is a human being. What distinguishes the human being from the animal? The viveka. Otherwise, there is no, there is no difference. Viveka means dharma. Dharma, adharma, the ability to distinguish. Dharma, adharma, viveka. Karya, karya, viveka. What is correct, what is wrong, what should be done, what should be not done. Atma, anatma, viveka, various kinds of vivekas. But even if you are not taking the ability to distinguish between Atma and Anatma, and the person suddenly getting the idea, oh, I'm indulging in Anatma, I should indulge in Atma. Even if that is not available, what is available is what? What is available is the base level. What is the base level? The base level ability to distinguish between right and wrong. At least that is available. And if that is also gone, then Bhashyakara is sorry to inform you that you are no longer a human being. Then meaning what? It's a polite way of saying you are as good as a pashu. Ahara nidra bhayamaithunancha samanyameta etat pasubhihi narana dharmo hi etam adhiko visheshah dharmena hinaha pasubhis samanaha. So there is a very nice sukta. Some people ascribe it to the Mahabharata, but I have not been able to find it in the Mahabharata. But Mahabharata verses are like finding a needle in the haystack. So I'm sure it's there somewhere. So the in terms of these four things, ahara, food, foraging, animals hunt, you also hunt. Only the place of hunting is different. You hunt in the supermarket, animal hunts in the forest. That's what. That's the only difference. You also are hunting. Which one? And that's why it's called hunts tomato ketchup. Okay, see, there is a reason with all this. And so, because you are hunting, and you also hunt, animal also hunts. Because the main thing is how to feed how to feed this body. And, animal also eats. You also eat. Ahara. Of course, the mode of eating is different. The animal uses its paws and its teeth. And you don't need to pause at all because you have the fork and spoon and all these things. And if you look at some Victorian movie, then you will see 5, 6 kinds of forks this side and 7, 8 kinds of knives and spoons. And somebody who has been brought up in the aristocratically, they know which one to use for which one. We don't need all that because our ahara is not an animal-based diet, thank God. And so, just like the human canines have devolved over the ages, it has devolved. If you look at the earlier human being, these canines were very pronounced because that is what they ate. They didn't know what else to, they had to eat whatever was found, and they ate all kinds of things. But now it's almost like Bhagavan himself has filed the teeth off. Only fit for plant-based foods. And so Anyhow, so still, whatever they eat, whatever we eat, it is still ahara. The two are the same, animals and human beings. Bhaya. Animals are always afraid of predators. That is, they are very aware that there is a food chain. And they are aware, I am eating this fellow, but some other fellow is ready to eat me. They are aware. Especially non-vegetarian animals are extremely aware. Our cows and all are buddhus. Buddhus means they are not opposite of Buddha. Okay, Buddha, Buddha means awakened. Buddha means opposite of that. The cow is just eating by itself. It will run away, but it's sometimes too late. Buffalo, cow, and all, they're not afraid of generally predators because they are not eating other animals. The vegetarian animals generally are little slow on the uptake where the predators are concerned, even though they have other compensatory mechanisms like fast running, etc., like the gazelle, deer, all of them. But then the when you look at the non-vegetarian animals, one bite of the food and then a quick look here and there. All the big cats in the forest. They are very aware of what's going on. You look at any National Geographic videos, it's just fascinating. The whole world of animals is very fascinating. Why? Because there is fear. There is fear that not only my food will be taken away from me, I will myself be gone, decimated. There is always a bigger fish. And so I eat and then I'm eaten. They are very well aware of that. And then so the human being also is very aware that there is such a thing called fear. And I am in the grip of that. Very aware, extremely aware. Maybe that's why all the time, just like the animal looks here, looks there, always a creepy feeling somebody is following me. Where are they? Who is this? Suspicious, afraid. Afraid of causes that are both real. Real means empirically real, okay? Not absolutely real, because absolutely there is no fear. And then, but empirically real causes, such as some threat, etc., to one's existence. So, not only is the human being afraid of empirical causes, but also of perceived things. One is gripped by fear due to some perceived thing. And what are the perceived things? Oh, I think I'm getting sick. And in the last 3 years, everybody thought that. I think I'm getting corona. I think I'm getting sick. Oh, I am just gone. I'm just done it. And then one imagines the worst. So some small, what is that called? Some small symptom arises. And then one says, oh, it must be cancer. It must be something threatening. So that fear is always there. And in this matter also, the human beings and the animals are exactly the same. Same thing. Both are both are afraid. The human being's fear is much more sophisticated and complex because the human being has the fear of losing things which the animal doesn't have. If it loses something, it goes find something else. Like the bird migrating south does not rent out its nest, does not say, here is a tree view condo, various chambers, and the babies, the children's nursery bedroom is lined with the softest of feathers for the chicks and the eggs and everything. No, it doesn't bother renting it out. It doesn't bother saying, okay, will somebody come and move? It's getting wasted. Come on, go, go, go. So come on. And then it doesn't even say, let's have an exchange system. The other birds that are coming from south, maybe they will like this, and then I will go stay in their house. No such thing. No such thing. There is no Airbnb in the bird kingdom. Okay. There is no Airbnb. There is no renting it out. And so that means that the fear of loss of things which they have acquired is not there for the birds. Human fears are much more complex, much more sophisticated, if one can use that word. So there is this fear of loss, losing things that one has gained. There is this fear of not gaining the things that one wants. And animals do not have that. They are just afraid of predators. That's all it is. They're afraid of being decimated. The fear is not so sophisticated. Then what? Then, so ahara, uh, bhaya, and then nidra. What is nidra? That which happens 15 minutes, right about now, into the Vedanta class is defined as nidra. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. I don't need to explain any further. Right. And so that is nidra. Animals sleep, human beings sleep. Again, it's a complex affair because the animal can sleep where it is. Wherever it is, it just lies down. If they are the lying down kind of animals, or if they are birds, they just perch and then they go to sleep. Horses can sleep standing up, I am told. And so it doesn't matter. But the human being has to go to a mattress shop and then press the mattress. And oh, have I left my hand imprint there? How long does it take to come up? And then that is the mattress. Memory foam. Memory foam. Even though you don't have your memory and it's not as good as before, the mattress should have memory. Okay, no matter what. And so then the human being has to go to the mattress store, the human being has to go to the sleep store, the human being has to go to the sleep doctor because they have made a mess of their lives and then they cannot sleep. But still, eventually, even the insomniac, as I like to call them, even the even the biggest insomniac goes to sleep. So sleep is common. It's a great leveler. Animal sleeps, and you also sleep. And even though you might be sleeping under different circumstances, under much more climate controlled circumstances, and then enclosed in a nice room with a nice mattress, etc., it is still sleep. So sleep also, it is common for the animals and the human being. Then finally, reproduction. Animals reproduce. Human beings also have the capacity to reproduce. And so there also, and then the animals care for their young. They seem to be wiser than us because they know when to stop parenting. The mother bear will will find the offspring unbearable after a few weeks, after a few months. First, it is cute. The baby is climbing all over it and it indulges it. And then after 6 months of parenting and after the frost has thawed and it is now spring, catch your own fish. It will thwack it on the head. I saw one video. It really beat the baby with its hands, the mother bear, polar bear. And it had twins. And it said, get out. In fact, you should bring me also one extra fish. Go, go fish. Okay. Not the card game. This is literally go and fish. And then this is so the animals also love their young. They nurture their children. Human beings also may sacrifice everything for the sake of their children to raise them into good human beings, good citizens. They give up everything. They give up 20 years, sometimes more of their life to make sure the children are set in their ways. They're capable of going and fishing. That's the idea, the human equivalent of going and fishing, and capable of reproducing their own food. In the human being, it takes a long time because there is free will and emotional problems, and therefore there is, in a way, a failure to launch on part of the offspring, and so, but still, reproduction is common to both. So, in these four ways, the human beings and the animals, there's no dissimilarity at all. In fact, it's all one and the same. There is no difference. Same, 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 same. But dharmo hi etam, dharma, the inability to say this is wrong, this is right. Adhiko vishesha, the extra thing that Bhagavan has given for the human being is the ability to distinguish between right and wrong, vivek, and to be in tandem with the with the flow. What is the flow? The flow of Bhagavan in the form of dharma. Dharma means a universal matrix of norms that are not written down anywhere, even though we may find them codified as laws. This is dharma. That this is going to cause hurt to another human being. How do I know? Because if somebody does this to me, I'll be hurt. Do you want to be defrauded? You ask anybody in the world, they'll say no. Do you want to be cheated? No. Do you want your things taken away from you? The things that you love? No. Do you want to be lied to? No. All this is universe. That is why it is a manifestation of Bhagavan. Dharma is not a commandment. In certain religions, we have what is called commandment, like thou shalt not lie. But actually, for us, it's a manifest. Thou shalt not lie is a manifestation of Bhagavan. It's not a command. It's not a mandate of Bhagavan. It's a manifestation of Ishvara. Wherever there is truth, in that heart, Ishvara abides. More truth, living in truth means less conflict, more ability to relax, less conflict, less feeling torn all the time. That is dharma. And dharma is the first manifestation, the most tangible manifestation of Ishvara. That is not object-based. Object-based manifestations are there surrounding us. We say every tree is Bhagavan, every bee is Bhagavan, the air we breathe is Bhagavan, and the water I drink is Bhagavan, sun is Bhagavan, moon is Bhagavan. Everything is holy, everything is sacred. We say that. But still, those are all, so to speak, outside of us. These are all external manifestation of Ishvara. Dharma is the first one. That is an internal manifestation, because I don't see dharma there. I feel it right here. I may see it in the world. I may say, okay, this person is in jail because they did not do this, and they did the crime, so they have to go to jail. I may see that. But first it is sensed here. That right and wrong is sensed in the heart, in the buddhi. That is why it is such a special manifestation, because dharma is discerned through what is called a witness perception. Sakshi pratyaksha. Sakshi pratyaksha. Amazing. This is dharma. And so this the animal does not have. The animal does not say. A donkey, like a donkey, does not say, a sadhu is standing behind me, I must not kick. In fact, it may kick harder. And then who do we take up with? You take up with the donkey and say, how could you do this? Don't you know that this is a holy person, and why did you do this? You take up with the so-called holy person and say, what is wrong with you? Why are you standing behind the donkey? You take it up with the with a sadhu, not with a donkey. That right and wrong is not there. And much more important, it need not be there to lead there. Why? Because they are programmed. There is no free will, there is no discernment. And since there is no free will, there is no ability to violate dharma. Even if the donkey kicks a sadhu, it will not get punya. Sorry, or papa. It will not get punya, papa, nothing. Even if it refrains from kicking somebody because it's a holy person, it will not get punya. If it kicks, it will not get papa. Why? It is a bhoga sharira. It is just eking out its previous karma in the form of the donkey upadhi, in the form of the donkey avatara. The jiva is just exhausting previous karma. You know, in this particular donkey life, in this particular iteration as a donkey, no new karma can be gathered. So therefore, because there is no free will, your karma has to be gathered means there has to be free will, and that has to violate dharma, or it has to go in tandem with dharma, and actions which violate dharma accrue papa, and actions which go along with dharma accrue punya. This is the thing. This is exactly the teaching. And therefore what? Therefore, the all the instruction is for the human thing. The instruction about dharma, because the person has the capacity to follow. If you sit a pet cat and say, okay, I have noticed that you are going to various houses and pretending to be unfed, and you're taking food from all these families, this is not correct. If you tell that, it's just going to walk away. It's going to shake a leg and walk away. It's not going to listen. You cannot. And then you cannot tell the dog, do not bother the poor squirrels in the backyard. It's not going to listen. It's just not going. It's just going to say whatever it is. You say whatever you want. I'm just going to do how Bhagavan programmed me. Dharma. Etam adhiko vishesha. Adhikaha vishesha means it's that special something that makes a human being a human being. And the author of this verse concludes, dharmena hinaha, devoid of the ability to follow dharma. Pashubhis samanaha, manushyaha. So the people are as good as beasts. There is no other, it's not an insult. But it's a fact. The bestial tendencies are best kept in check because of dharma. The ability to do what is correct. The ability to discern between what is not correct and what is correct. And if that is not there, if that sensor is compromised, then the whole person is compromised. And that is what the Bhashya is saying further. Then tadyogyatve nashtaha eva. He concludes, ataha tasya antakaranasya buddhehe nashat pranashyati. So the person himself, herself is destroyed. Why? Adi Shankara gives a brilliant explanation. Purushartha ayogyo bhavati ityarthaha. Purushartha ayogyata apannaha. So the person has accrued or gained the inability to follow any purushartha. What is purushartha? Sarvaihi purushaihi arthyate. That which is desired by all beings. What is that? Dharma. Dharma is desired by all beings. Everybody wants to do the right thing. And if you want to raise your hand and say, no, I don't want to do the right thing most of the time, I will ask you just one question. Do you want others to do the right thing? What is the answer? Yes. Do you want them to open the door for you when you walk through? Yes. Do you want them to be kind? Yes. Do you want them to be understanding? Yes. Do you want them to be cognizant of your feelings and go along with them? Yes. Then that means you love dharma. That's what it is. You just love it indirectly. That's all. You want others to be kind towards you without necessarily you being kind towards them, but that doesn't work. For dharma to work, it should be a two-way street. And sometimes you have to give much, much more than what you receive. That is dharma. And so dharma is the first purushartha. So one has slipped away from dharma. Then artha kama. Artha kama means the pursuits which are based on security, security pursuits. And then what other pursuits are there? Security and other kinds of aesthetic and other pleasures, kama. So, but even these pursuits have to be done dharmically. You can't just go grab this and grab that just because you want it. That's a miserable way to live. And since you have foraged and ridden roughshod over other people's rights, then you will never rest with the ill-gotten gains of adharma. You will never rest. You will always be afraid of losing something. And so, therefore, here is the caveat. And the caveat is that without dharma, the person is destroyed. Because purushartha ayogyo bhavati, not fit for dharma, not fit for arthakama pursuits. Even though you may say, I am fit for arthakama pursuits, but that will always be elusive. You are not following the correct path to get arthakama pursuits. You have become derailed. And then finally, moksha purushartha ayogyo bhavati. The person becomes ayogya, not fit for moksha. And if you're not fit for moksha, one is as good as destroyed, because the human life is a huge waste of time, because you're not using the free will to understand what is the real objective of life, to let go of samsara. Then he gives a segue to the next verse. Sarvanarthasya moolam uktam vishaya abhidhyanam atha idanim moksha karanam idam uchyate. He concludes, Sarvanarthasya moolam, the root cause of all anartha. Anartha means opposite of artha, opposite of purushartha. Anartha means the debacle, the misfortune. Artha means the purposefulness. Anartha means purposelessness. So the whole cause of purposelessness, a debacle in one's life, misfortune, the root cause is Vishaya Abhidhyanam, starts with the contemplation of one's fancies and nurturing them into full-fledged trees. What kind of trees? Banyan trees that keep reproducing themselves. In fact, the leaf becomes the root and then goes down and roots again, and the tree grows sideways. Banyan is called the tree of samsara. And that's why Dakshinamurti is sitting under it to help you to resolve samsara within oneself. And so, sarvanarthasya moolam, vishaya abhidhyanam uktam. So, the root cause of all disaster, anartha can also be translated as disasters. So, the root cause of all disastrous decisions, disastrous ways of being is starting from nurturing various kinds of fancies. Atha idanim moksha karanam uchyate. So now, having said that, now the Lord Krishna, now the Lord is going to explain moksha karanam, the cause of moksha, in the next coming verses. Let us see. 64. Ragadvesha viyuktaistu vishayadindriyaishcharan. Ragadvesha-viyuktaistu vishayadindriyaishcharan atmavasyairvidheyatma prasadam-adhigacchati. Atmavasyairvidheyatma prasadam-adhigacchati. Two, whereas, but, however, that's all two. Okay. Whereas, Ragadvesha viyuktaha. Ragaha cha, dveshaha cha. Ragadveshau. So ragadvesha, ragadveshabhyam viyuktaha. So the one who is freed from all kinds of fancies and prejudices, repulsions, attractions, all of them. Ragadvesha viyuktaha. Two. And then what happens? Also here, two doubles here, even though. So two has to be doubled. Two can be right in the beginning, meaning whereas. And then the second time we have to silently say two is Vishayan before Vishayan Indriyaihi Charan. So the one who is devoid of or has managed to have a say over the raga and dveshas, even though to what? Vishayan indriyaish charan, even though the person has not gone and receded into a cave, the person is still in the world. And what is the person doing? Eating, drinking, interacting with people, doing what needs to be done. The person is in the world. Person is even enjoying things that they enjoy, and so they are not monastics necessarily speaking, and even monastics also eat, drink, sleep, go places, whatever it is. So Vishayan Charan. Charan means even though the Indriyas move in the world of the sense objects, even though they may enjoy something, they may enjoy a concert, they may enjoy a beautiful sunset, they may enjoy people, being with people. Still, it doesn't become binding. That's the idea. So, Vishayan Indriyaihi Charan Api, then Atmavashyaihi Vidheyatma. Atmavashyaihi means Ragadvesha Viyuktaihi Atmavashyaihi, they are in acquisition, they go together. So Ragadvesha Viyuktaihi, for the one who is freed of Ragadvesha and for the one who is Atmavashyaihi. And so the one who has brought Atma here is not Satchidananda Atma. Atma means the one who has brought the Antahkarana under one's management, no longer being managed by Ragadveshas. So Atma Vashyaihi Vidheyatma. Vidheyatma is the one who is tranquil, the one who is ready for this. And he's going to explain all these compounds. We'll see them. And so prasadam adhikachati. Prasada means enjoys prasannata. Prasannata eva prasada. Prasada means cheerfulness. Gains cheerfulness is always can always find the time and the ability to smile regardless of how the day has gone. Even though one says, I've had a terrible day, and the whole day is awful, even then the person is tranquil. Even though one had one had to face challenges during the course of the day, one is free. One is free. How is one free? One is freed of the of catching hold of what happened and lamenting on how badly the day went. One is cheer. So that is very beautiful verse. So he says, and let us look at the Bhashya. Ragadvesha viyuktaihi. Ragascha dveshascha. Ragadvesha. So raga and dvesha. Viyukta, he assumes you understand. So viyukta means freed. He's going to explain that later in a different context. So tat purasaraha hi indriyanam pravrittihi swabhaviki. Swabhaviki pravrittihi, feminine. Swabhaviki means normal state of affairs, natural. Natural pravritti means swabhava, means one's natural ways of going about in the world. And what is the natural way of going about in the world? What is the commonplace natural way of going about in the world? Keeping the indriyas, keeping the ragadveshas purassaraha, keeping them in front. Keeping them in front, then the indriyas follow and do what they command. What the raga and the dveshas tell them to do, the sense organs do. So the raga is for something wonderful to eat, and the neighbor is having a party, and they are cooking away, and then you find yourself, oh, sitting here in your house. You are assailed by, first you have the desire to eat, and then the indriyas, the sense organs, especially the nose is no longer on your face. The nose has developed legs and run away to the neighbor's house, and and there it is enjoying very much all the pakodas, samosas, everything being fried. Why? Because in the house where the nose belongs to, that house, that face, that head does not allow a single fried thing in the house. Not a single fried thing is allowed. Even oil is not allowed. Okay, because they are on what is that called? Sofa diet. Okay, and sofa diet means whatever don't cook. That's all. Sit on the sofa because you can't have oil. you can't have you can't have sugar. So the S, I suppose, stands for sugar, and then O stands for oil. F and A, I forgot, whatever it is. So anyhow, but all the things you love, you can't have. And then so the sofa diet means so far so bad. Okay, not so far so good, so far so bad. And then you just sit on the sofa. You don't cook, and you just for lunch you graze in the front lawn, and for dinner you graze in the backyard. That's all. Simple. and and so naturally, if somebody else is cooking all these wonderful things, the nose developed the legs and has run away to the neighbor's house, because there is the raga for this. The indriyas follows that purassaraha hi indriyanam pravrittihi swabhaviki. Keeping the ragadveshas in the mind, the indriyas run after the objects. This seems to be a normal, logical state of affairs. तत्र यो मुमुक्षुः भवति सः ताभ्यां वियुक्तैः श्रोत्रादिभिः इन्द्रियैः विषयान् अवर्जनीयान् चरन् उपलभमानः आत्मवश्यैः आत्मनः वश्यानि वशीभूतानि तैः आत्मवश्यैः विधेयात्मा इच्छातः विधेयः आत्मा अन्तःकरणं यस्य सः ayam prasadam adhigachati. Lots of compounds and the resolution, but very interesting bhashya. Let us just understand. We have to break it up a little because the whole thing, as you can see, was one sentence right up to the end. So tatra means in this context. Yatra tatra, in this context, yaha mumukshuhu bhavati. The one who is branded themselves as a mumukshu, the seeker of liberation, saha, that person who desires liberation, tabhyam viyuktaihi shrotradibihi indriyaihi vishayan. So the person who desires liberation, having brought the raga and dvesha and the sense organs under one's management, is equipped with the antahkarana, which acts as at their own will. A strong antahkarana, a strong mind, buddhi, etc., which acts in accordance to their own will, not the raga dveshas, the strong preferences and prejudices do not control. So that kind of a person, what does the person, so that person, vishayan, avarjaniyan, vishayan, charan api. Avarjaniyan means not banned by the scriptures. So even though they indulge in those kinds of actions, and with sense objects, even though they enjoy things, they only enjoy things that are enjoined by dharma. If it is adharmic, they don't indulge in it. So those things that the scriptures prohibit, those kinds of behaviors, actions, and indulgences, the scriptures do not allow, they don't do that. And you can't sort of say, I love this person, I want to marry them. What's wrong? What's wrong is they are already married. That is what is wrong. So that's a small detail. That's what is wrong. Why is it wrong? Because it's a sacrament. Marriage is a sacrament. They have pledged their vows to somebody else. And they are still in the marriage. It's not that they have separated or gotten divorced or anything. That's different. They're still in the marriage. They seem to be happy. And you just think, okay, I think I like this one and I'm going to have this. This is called, what is this called? Asuri Vivaha. So this is the Rakshasa type of marriage. It's basically abduction. That's what it is. And so that is not enjoined by dharma. It's not this kind of asuri pravritti is not enjoyed by dharma. And so therefore, the person here of calm mind does not indulge in those activities and those desires that are banned by the Shastra, that are not enjoined by the Shastra, that are not permitted by the Shastra. That is what is called avarjaniya, unexceptional things, not things that are banned by the Shastras. So, Atmavashyaihi, by this person who is Atmavashya means Atmanaha Vashyani Vashibhutani. So, Taihi, Indriyaihi. So, those indriyas, that are under one's management is called Atmavashya. So, then Vashibhutani Indriyani. So, Taihi. So, Atmavashyahi, by such people, Vidheyatma. Vidheyatma means Ichchataha Vidheyaha. Atma means the one who has Atma here is Antakarna. The Antakarna that is available to order around. The inner instrument, mind, Ahankara, Buddhi, etc. is available, is free to pursue moksha, is free to delight in so many things without wanting them. That is the idea. And is free to appreciate things without wanting to make it one's own. It's not a needy, greedy ahankara. Otherwise, there is a lot of neediness because one feels tethered to the sense objects. And so that neediness comes in the way of just appreciating life. So then, ayam prasadam adhigacchati. So so the person gains prasada. And what is prasada? Adi Shankara beautifully explains prasannata, cheerfulness, swasthyam, wellness. Physical, mental, emotional wellness is gained. Very beautiful verse. Very nice verse. So the extent to which one has a command over the raga dveshas is the extent to which one is cheerful. One commands that cheerful attitude towards life. And about this we have talked a lot. So I feel comfortable, going forward. Then prasade sati kim syat. So what happens if I have prasada? Big deal. What happens? So what? What should I look forward to? What happens? This one is answered by verse number 65. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopajayate. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopajayate. Prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhif paryavatishthate. Prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhif paryavatishthate. Prasade means prasade sati, when this tranquility is gained. Because if somebody asks the needless question, why should I gain tranquility? Is that even a question? But there are people who may ask it. And so why should I gain tranquility? उससे मुझे क्या मिलेगा? What will I get out of tranquility? If anybody has that question, if tranquility is not enough, then this is the verse to look for. So why is tranquility important? Because when tranquility is attained, there follows the cessation of all miseries. That is the idea. Tranquility and misery cannot abide in the same heart. So when tranquility abides, misery is gone, like tamah prakashavat, like light and darkness cannot occupy the same spot at the same time. So the one awakened to their nature, forget their nature as Satchidananda, but their nature as a human being, that I have a say over the ways of my mind, the one who is awakened to that. And the one who has managed to have a command over strong preferences and prejudices. Then what happens? Then sarva dukkhanam hanihi upajayate. Upajayate is born. Is born. Upa, he could have just said jayate. Upajayate is born in a discernible way, very closely sensed by you. What upajayate? What is born? Hanihi upajayate. The loss is born. Loss of what? Oh, I don't want loss. So if I have tranquility, I will have loss. Loss of what? Sarva dukkhanam, of all dukkhas, of all sorrows. Tranquility and sorrow do not go together. When the mind is infused with tranquility, then what happens? All the miseries flee. They just run away. They just go away because one is abiding in tranquility. Prasanna Chetasaha, for the one abiding in tranquility, Chetasaha means for the one whose emotions are abiding in tranquility. Ashu, ashu, indeed, ashu means quickly. Buddhihi paryavatishthate. So when the emotions are regulated, we are not talking of dysregulated emotions. We are talking of emotions that are regulated. More about that we'll talk. But the emotions that are regulated means what? Managed properly. And emotions belong to the unconscious mind. The subconscious and the unconscious mind. So one doesn't know why suddenly one gets angry, why suddenly one is in the doldrums, why suddenly one feels sad, one doesn't know. But when that sadness comes, when that anger comes, we have to learn self-soothing mechanisms to bring the dysregulated emotions back to a state of regulation. That seems to be a very important, sadhana for moksha. A very important sadhana for moksha along with Shravan. It's an indirect sadhana. The management and the learning to regulate emotions is an indirect sadhana for moksha. Why is it an indirect sadhana? Because if there is a tsunami in the emotions, if there is a stormy emotions all the time, then how are you going to sit to study? How are you going to gain moksha? How are you even going to prioritize moksha? That this is a priority and that all the anatma is no longer attracting me. How are you going to discern that? How are you going to understand that? So the regulation of the emotions, Adi Shankara says, is the key. So from this regulation, we are going to bring the emotions in a state of equilibrium upon which this prasada buddhi, this tranquility is dependent. And then once that follows, well, the buddhi soon falls in place. So here the distinction between the emotions, the emotive faculty and the reasoning is drawn out beautifully. So if the emotions are managed, the reasoning follows and then there is no question. I want moksha when? Yesterday. I wanted it in my last life, but I missed it. But I have to have it right now. This is what it is. And so the emotions are most important. The regulation of emotions is the primary work. The primary work is the regulation of emotions. And then when the emotions are soothed, and when the unconscious mind is no longer coming in the way of the pursuit, then the buddhi falls in line, and the buddhi says, when is the next retreat? When am I going to get this? I can't wait for the next class, which is tomorrow. All right. Okay. So we'll see more next week about the regulation of emotions, etc., and why it is important and how to do that. And then we'll go further with the Bhashya. And then tomorrow we have Aparokshanubhuti, same time, same place. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ थैंक यू